Hello and welcome. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about the cost of framing this little cabin. So as you guys know, this is 720 square feet, 24 by 30, and it's 2 bedrooms and 2 bath. And what I'm going to show you in this episode is basically $20,900. So it's just under 21 grand. And that includes all the materials, and it includes the exterior framing that you can see. It includes the interior walls framing, and then the whole roof system, the house wrap that you're seeing, and also the sheathing that's going to go on top, and you're going to see that in a second as well. And also the synthetic felt paper that's going to go on top of the sheathing on top of the roof. And then the next episode will be the roofing episode, and I'll show you as well how much that costs. And here, see, this is why I love these guys. They don't have a lot of waste. So this is what the rafters get secured with screws, because I like the screws better than the hurricane clips. And this is just basically they're putting the fascia material, so you can nail your fascia to that, and then the soffit would go underneath it. So that's the overhang. And this house has a 16-inch overhang, so that'll kind of keep the water off the walls. So the bigger the overhang, the better that's going to work. But then if it gets too big, you have to think about reinforcing it. But here's the sheathing going up. You can have an idea how that goes. If you're ever on the roof, never step by the eave, by the end, because you don't have much support there. So just try to keep yourself in the middle. So watch your step if you're on top of the roof. If you guys know me, if you watched a couple episodes from the previous season, you know I like heights. So if I get an opportunity to go on top of something, I usually do. That's just how crazy I am. I mean, as a kid, I used to climb trees all the time and just different structures. I don't know, it's just I'm weird like that. But this is the sheathing going up. This is a 7/16. It's rated for 16 inches and 24 inches on center. And this is part of the support that I was talking about. Those are collar ties on that flat ceiling area of the house. And that's going to get reinforced even more. And I'll show you that in the future episodes as well. So this guy, the way he builds, he likes to use a lot of blocking and a lot of reinforcement on things, which I like. And all his structures are sound and they're quiet, and he does a very good job. I mean, he's been the guy on the right on the top of the roof. He's been doing that for over 40 years, and he's a good man too. So I would literally trust him with my life. And he's got a good crew, so they frame and they've been doing it for a very long time. So that's the view from this side. That roof pitch is about 412. And this is a little bit of the inside view, and like I said, that's going to get reinforced even more in the future. And here I'm going to show you blocking here eventually for those rafters. But this is that side of the house that looks out in the view. And at some point I want to incorporate maybe windows in my gables, so I have more light coming in and you can see more of that view. Because unfortunately with this house, with this budget, those gables are going to be just closed off walls. And here's a plane flying by. So I just caught it on camera. But it would be nice if they had windows, those gables. And this is the synthetic felt paper we're going to be putting on the roof. And that side of the house is done. So that's just how it comes together. If you're thinking about the price, $20,900, you can save a nice chunk of that if you did a lot of labor yourself. But you got to keep in mind, by the way, this is the view from the neighbor's deck. That's what I was talking about the previous episode, that I wanted to keep the roof as low as I possibly could and still get my manufacturer's warranty for the shingles, because I didn't want to block her view. So that's what I did. So I kept the roof to as low as possible. But if you do some of the framing yourself, or if you know somebody that can help you with this, you can save yourself a nice chunk of change. But as you can see, this is pretty labor intensive, and it works a lot better if there's multiple people working on the job. I actually had a house built mostly by 2 people, just basically 2 contractors, and that was it. And they finished that house, but it wasn't easy for them, and I had to help them out. Like, I don't know if I'll put a number on it, 80-90% of the time I was moving things, cutting things, measuring things, getting lumber, and just what we in the industry call dumb labor. I was basically the guy who was fetching everything. And that's basically how I learned this construction whole business, because that house I was building for myself. And I was just around the construction site most of the time, and I picked up on a lot of things. And when I finished the house, a light bulb went off in my head, and I said, you know what, I can do this as a business, because the money that I had in the house, my appraisal came in higher. So I ended up selling that house, making some money, and that's how my business got started. So if you're curious basically how I got introduced into this business, that's basically how it happened. So I built the house for less than for what it ended up being worth, and I sold it, made a profit, and then moved all those, all that energy and profit money, everything into the business. And that's how I've been doing it ever since. So here's that little stoop that they were framing. As you can see, that from the across the street house is pretty much the same thing. And that's just gonna give some shelter for the door so it doesn't get beat up by the rain. And here's the synthetic felt paper they're rolling out. This stuff is pretty good. The old school stuff, that's the black tar paper, that eventually over time it disintegrates literally and just keeps on falling apart. And this stuff here, it's like a weird plasticky rubbery material. And see, this is what I was talking about. You gotta watch yourself at the end so you don't fall off, because you don't have much stability there. And that's the ridge vent that you see, by the way, here in the middle, that hole. But that synthetic felt paper is pretty darn good. The shingles will do most of your work, like 99.999% of the work. So this just prevents your, any kind of weird moisture, water, anything messing up your sheathing right there. The OSB that you see right there, which is 7/16, as I said. And that's just how it rolls out. So you start at the bottom, and then you overlap it, and then you go and you work your way up. So that way, if there is any kind of moisture or water, it just flows down and it doesn't go behind the house wrap. And see, so that's the little stoop. The other exterior door is going to have an overhang on it, kind of like the overhang you see right there, but it's on the side of the house. And that's how that's pretty much the most cost-effective thing of adding some curb appeal to the house without going overboard and without spending an exorbitant amount of money. And that's how it looks. So this is the house wrap is on, the synthetic paper is almost on. I'm gonna show you my version of Instagram reality here in a second. This is gonna get cut out, by the way. This is how your house breathes, because heat is gonna go up. So when that gets cut out, when the roofers come, that's how your house is going to breathe. And that's the little tiny little porch that they're building. And see, this is my Instagram picture. People usually put their feet in the picture. So I figured I would do the same thing. It's just a little bit different on the construction site. And that's the view from up top. That's why I like climbing things, because you get to see things like this. And it was a pretty day. So here's more sheathing. And the roof pitch on this is so mild that, as you can see, it's very, very easily walkable. So here's the interior shot, how it's all coming together, and you see that's going to get cut out where you see the light gaps on the top, and that's how your house is going to breathe. So the house wrap is done, felt paper almost done, and here they're closing up that gable. So like I was saying, on that other side, it'll be nice if I at some point put windows in there, because it's just going to add a lot of appeal to the house if there's additional light coming in from that gable. And see, this is how it all looks together on the inside. I'll show you a quick little tour here in literally a couple of seconds. This is where the windows would be in the future builds at some point. View from the bottom, neighbor's property. And here's a quick little tour how it came out. I try to keep my properties clean, So you're going to see, I will try to sweep and keep my properties clean. That's just the way I like it. And here's a little bit of the lumber. They're pretty much almost done for that day. And like I said, the roofers will come out the next day or two here from this episode and get the roof done, and I'll show you that price once that episode goes up. That's the kitchen, by the way, you're looking at right there, straight ahead with those two smaller windows. Those windows are 3 feet by 3 feet. Left side, that's the master bedroom. This is the guest bathroom on the right side where you see the tub is on the inside. And tiny little hallway. That tub is going to go eventually in that bathroom. But they just gotta knock out a couple of those studs. So if you're curious how they get those in, you have to knock out a couple of the studs to get the tub in. That's usually how it works, since this is all one piece, and I get one pieces because I like how easy it is to clean, because everything is just there's no caulk or grout lines or anything. It's just all one piece, so it's very, very easy to clean, and it looks good. And those tubs were $400 if you're curious. Well, $397 to be exact. By the way, do you see the roofing right there out the window? That's what we're gonna be using, architectural shingles. And I'll talk about all that in the next episode. This is the world's smallest closet. It's like almost 3 feet deep by about 30 inches, I think, or something like that. I don't remember exactly. 30 or 32 inches, something like that. And here's the other bathroom with the bathtub in it. Toilet to the left, and then vanity again to the left. So this is pretty much it. So you have the window right there. That's the little house. Next episode will be roofing. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.